What is going on, everyone? Since I've been doing a lot of leather crafting recently, making all kinds of fun stuff using my vegetarian leather, I just recently bought a iPhone 12 Pro Max, and with that, a wireless headset. This is the AirPods Pro that I got with my iPhone, and fantastic headset. Now I'm thinking, why not make a really nice leather case just for the AirPods Pro, since a lot of cases out there are for AirPods, and the one for AirPods Pro, most of them looks very low quality. So I want to make one that actually is very personalized, using the vegetarian leather, and also not extremely complicated. So I just want to make this process as simple as possible for leather crafting. As you can see, probably all I need is just 2 pieces of vegetarian leather, and now those 2 pieces has been soaking in water for about 10 minutes. I'm gonna soak it for 10 more minutes, then I'm gonna take it out, kind of pat it dry, and we're just gonna form fit, or like wet fitting this onto my AirPods Pro to make a shape. And then pretty much when the shape is nice and ready and dried, we punch out holes and we sew this shape together. That's the simple concept. Now I have been looking at a few videos online on the YouTube of people using leathers and making AirPods cases. So my goal in this video is to have the process as simple as possible in making a vegetarian leather, custom fitted case for my AirPods Pro. So after I'm gonna dry the leather and everything gets ready, we're gonna start the process. Hopefully it's not too complicated. And everybody who just started out doing leather crafting, if you can cut a shape, and if you have a few clamps sitting around to clamp the shape onto the form, you should be able to just do this project. And again, it should be a very simple project, because the leather, it's not even a big piece of leather. It just requires 2 small pieces of vegetarian leather. And this is a 3 to 4 ounce leather, I believe. So we're gonna be using this in a few minutes. So I have soaked the leather for about 20 minutes. As you can see, it's super pliable right now. And I just kind of patted it dry with paper towels, so they're not like soaking wet, and it's still pliable. And then I went ahead and got a piece of plastic saran wrap. I'm just gonna very carefully fully wrap my AirPods, and then we're gonna just form fitting the leather on 2 parts of the top. Okay, so let's go ahead and start wrapping. So I wrapped the AirPods Pro in the saran wrap. Next, I'm gonna find a whole bunch of clamps. Use whatever clamps you can find. For me, I only have those limited kind of clamps around. So I'm gonna try to utilize every single one of them, and just to get the form really nicely fitted by clamping one piece over the other. So. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finish clamping first and then show you guys what it looks like after it's been clamped. All right, so this is my makeshift clamping system. And I think if I want to do more wet forming projects, I definitely want to invest in a better clamping system. This is all the clamps I have around the house, and I usually don't do wet forming, so this is the first time. And I cut out some extra excess of the leather so the clamp can reach a little bit further down. But as you can see, it's already doing a pretty good job, forming the shape of the AirPods. Show the bottom side. So it's kind of centered in the area. So we're gonna just clamp it for quite a long time until it's kind of dried. Then we're gonna just refine. We're gonna take all the clamps out and refine the shape of the wet formed leather, and hopefully we can start sewing it. So being impatient as me, I actually dried this out with a blow dryer. So they're kind of half dried, and I took the pieces out. I cut it even further to refine the shape. And now it's kind of, it's kind of working. And so the next step is I have to align the area that I'm gonna have to cut out before I start sewing it for the front, and as well as leaving the space in between the hinge so it can be opened on the back. This is gonna be a little tricky since the design of the AirPod Pro case is a kind of like a vertical design with it's like long and short compared to the AirPods, which is short and tall. So for that, it's a little easier to cut, but since this one is very long horizontally, it's gonna be a little tricky to cut. I'm gonna try to freehand and cut it just for fun. Keep in mind, this is my first project, so it's more or less like a prototype. I'm not even caring about, you know, the edge, how ugly it looks like. If I need to do it properly, of course, I have to protect the edge with extra piece of leather before I clamp them so the dirty stuff doesn't get onto the leather. And of course, I'm gonna have to let it dry properly for a full day while being clamped onto the case. That would be the proper way. But again, this is a prototype and I'm really interested in just making a quick prototype and see what the outcome is and see if it's a doable project or not. So I should be able to actually just glue them all together and then punch holes and start sewing it. But this is pretty much just a 3-piece design with veg-tan leather. My very first time just experimenting with wet forming. I think it kind of works. And again, I cheated by only hair drying the piece instead of waiting properly for a whole day for it to fully dry. And it kind of works. But I'm sure if I waited for a whole day, this piece is gonna be much more rigid and much better formed, if you ask me. But again, it's a makeshift. I'm doing a prototype, so it looks like it's gonna work. So let me glue it, and then we're gonna punch holes and just get it sewed together. As you guys can see, I put some of my trusty rubber cement from Elmer's. So this is not a permanent bond. For a proper project, I would be using my contact cement, but again, prototyping, so I'm using whatever is available and just waiting for the whole thing to dry. Once it's dried, I should be able to just easily glue them together and then make and then start punching out the holes for the sewing. So Elmer's rubber cement is working perfectly fine. I glued all the 3 pieces together, including the back, the front, top and bottom piece, again using Elmer's glue. The case is, you know, fitting pretty good in here. So with use, this little connecting piece will get softened and stretched. So even though right now it looks like there's a huge gap, like eventually the gap would disappear because it's gonna get stretched as you use it. The more you use veg-tan, the beautiful it gets, and the more smooth the veg-tan leather gets. So this is a brand new veg-tan, so I'm very rigid, very hard. Eventually it's gonna get soft and stretched, and very beautiful shiny coat the more you use it. So the prototype seems to be fine. Next step, punching holes. I'm gonna punch the hole throughout the entire piece and start sewing it. And this would serve as my very first project for the AirPods Pro case, okay? So I further cut down and refined the shape of the leather case just a little bit. And as you can see right now, it's coming along pretty good. Again, I still haven't punched a hole yet. I'm gonna be using one of those hole punchers to punch the hole right here. And I'm gonna apply a little bit of the Profide. This is actually Brooks for my leather bicycle saddle, and it's working. It's the purpose of this, it's like a wax oily stuff that softens the leather. Basically, I put this on here. It actually helps fast or increase or reduce the speed of the leather breaking in. So it makes the leather more soft faster. Okay, it's coming along pretty good. Very easy to punch holes since this leather is not as thick. But there's one important thing that I kind of forgot. That is, I didn't cut out for the charging port. That is one big miscalculation from my part. And also, if I need to charge it, of course, there is an indicator light. So what I'm gonna do is measure the distance and punch a hole over there, so I should be able to see the indicator light. So let me see what I can do next. Once I finish punching out the holes for the top, I'll decide if I'm gonna cut the hole on the bottom or just leave it as is for this project. Okay, so I have finished punching out the holes for the entire case. It's pretty much just ready to be sewed. Now, I have decided to actually make a cutout for the lining connector so I can charge it while it's in the case. It looks like it's close, it's a close call, but I should be able to cut out a hole without sacrificing the integrity of the case too much and still make it functional after I sew everything back together. Now, keep in mind, again, this is entirely done on the spot without a template, pretty much just eyeing and measuring and go. So I hope it works. Next, I'm gonna cut out a hole and we're gonna continue. So I have finally finished the project with the stitching done. It's done in 3 parts. Top is 1, bottom left and bottom right, 2 stitches, so total of 3. And again, just a couple recaps. I did this in a pinch just as a front project, and it's quite doable. It's very easy actually. Just 3 pieces that you need to glue and stitch. So if you have time, give it a try. The water like wet forming, it's kind of very easy. All you need to have are a bunch of clamps. And so just to save you guys some trouble, when you clamp and try to shape it, do not directly put the clamps on the leather piece that you're shaping. Look at that. So that was from the clamps. It actually left some crazy marks on my finished piece. But since I'm only doing this just as a fun project, it doesn't really matter. If you want to make it perfect, make sure you have another leather piece on top of the clamp, like some scrap leather, so you don't make, dirty marks on your actual leather piece. I have drilled a hole that matches the charging indicator, which is nice. So you know when you are charging that, the status of the headphone, the headpiece, or the status of the case. And again, the bottom charging hole is very nicely exposed. So this project is again great for beginners because it's very doable and actually quite fun. And another thing is the top piece of the leather. So what I would do, like if I'm about to make another one, is I'm probably gonna have a little strap on the top that can close to the bottom, so the top leather doesn't fall off. At this moment, the top leather actually falls off. What I did is I just have a little double-sided tape in there to tape the top piece to the top of the case, so it actually doesn't fall off, and actually works pretty good. So there's no complaint there, but again, very doable project, very fun and very easy to do. So now this is again a brand new veg tan leather. It's gonna get prettier with use. Right now it kind of looks like, it just looks very plain and boring, but as you use it, you'll get this really nice and beautiful shine on the veg tan, and it's gonna look beautiful. So this leather wallet is about a year old. That's with daily use. So this, if you keep it for a year and every day you put it in your pocket, you hold it quite a lot, the grease on your hand actually enhances the look of the leather. So that's the beauty of it, of the veg tan leather. It gets better with use compared to any store-bought, leather piece. Just disintegrates faster than you think. And the reason I didn't go with a silicone case is because silicone case actually creates a lot of friction in the pocket. And the veg tan, very sleek, it just slides around in your pocket, very nice, very good feeling in your pocket. So that's the reason I make my own case, okay? And again, you just cannot buy it anywhere else. There's nothing like it, like a custom made case for your AirPods or AirPods Pro, okay? Thanks again, guys. Questions, comments, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, hit the like button or subscribe if you found this video helpful. Thanks again and take care.